Hey guys, it's DIY time over here on TezMania TV, and today I am making this bag or purse from scraps. So it's recycling time! Here are the items that I'm going to be working with today, starting off with 2 cut-off pant legs that were part of a pair of jeans that I bleached to get this nice black and white or black and gray kind of pattern. So those are going to make up the body of the bag. And then we have some patches that are left over from that time I made a shit ton of patches and patched a pair of jeans. All the rest of the stuff are things that I have taken off of bags that have broken. So like literally taking off and saving parts from broken bags. So we have a couple of zippers, we have some D-rings, we have a perfectly fine strap where the bag itself just broke, and then we have a little chain that just came off one of those bags that I had to kill, but you keep the parts. So the first thing we're gonna do is decide which pant leg we're gonna use. I like the one that has more black. This one is a little bit too pale, so I'm gonna focus on that one. And I'm gonna use this nice bottom seam, the hem that already exists, that will make up the top for the bag, because it's just a nice seam. There's no point in creating a new one. So I just need to decide how big I want the bag itself to be. And this is not supposed to be a huge purse, just kind of a tiny party purse. And the zipper is gonna go on top, which is perfect size-wise. So yeah, no adjustments need to be made. So let's see where we're gonna take this off. I think right about here will be fine. So I'm just gonna cut the rest of that pant leg off, and then we have the main piece for the bag. I also want to create a little pocket for the middle of the front. So I'm gonna use the scraps that are left from that fabric. And this piece also has a nice seam on it that I'm gonna use. So I'm gonna cut as close to the seam as possible without actually cutting through the seam, so that we can use that as the top stitch for that pocket. Again, trying to save time and just using stuff that's already there instead of starting from scratch. And then just deciding what size I want that pocket to be, and then just cutting it out. And then for the bottom, we're gonna need to add a piece to give a bit of volume to the bag. So I'm just gonna cut a piece that matches the length of the bag itself, like the bottom of the bag. So again, going back to the scraps and cutting out a new piece. So we have a little rectangle that I'm gonna use for the bottom. Here we have all the pieces laid out, and there are 4 final pieces that I'm gonna have to cut in order for me to be able to add the D-rings to the bag. And those are 4 little straps that will go around the D-rings and keep them in place, like so. There we have those. We now have all of our parts, and it's time to start sewing. And for the patches, I decided to only use 1 patch this time. I'm gonna start by adding the bottom, so I'm gonna flip those pieces inside out, so the main piece and the bottom piece. And then I'm gonna pin those together, again with the insides facing outwards. And I have pinned it. I'm going to lay that aside because I've also pinned the little tank girl patch, which I am going to sew on by hand, the same way that I did with all of those patches for those pants. If you haven't already seen the mega patch video, I suggest you go have a look at that. So here we go, we have the inside of the pocket looking like this. It's just easier to put the patch on before the whole bag is ready because you have that loose piece of fabric to work with. So just tying those 2 ends together and then cutting it off, and your piece is attached and ready to be sewn onto the main piece. But before we sew that on, I'm just going to sew the bottom that we pinned before. Be careful while you sew because it can be a little tricky in the corners and turns. Here we go, it's been sewn on, and I'm going to flip it the right way, and it's time to attach the little pocket with the patch on it. For the bottom of the pocket, I am also going to be attaching 2 of the D-rings. So I'm pinning the sides and then I'm adding those little straps with the D-rings inserted into them to the bottom so that I can hang the chain off of them from there. And it's also nice and decorative. Just a little detail. There we go, everything is attached. It's time to move on to the zipper. For the zipper, I'm going to need to add an extra piece like I did with the bottom in order for the zipper to have something to attach to. And I'm cutting that piece in 2 and then pinning the zipper on top of that so that I can open the zipper and have that hole underneath already. There we go, zipper is pinned to the extra piece of fabric, or 2 extra pieces, and then I'm gonna sew that. It's now been sewn on, and I'm just checking to see that the zipper works. I can open it properly. Yes, it does. We may proceed. And then I'm adding the second pair of D-rings to the sides, pinning those in place before I pin the zipper because this is where the strap will go. I'm going back and forth a couple of times to make sure those are really on there. Once you have those 2 D-rings in place, it's time to add the zipper piece. I'm going to be flipping that inside out so that we get a nice outside seam. And I'm starting by pinning one side at a time with the zipper closed. And then just sewing that. After the first side has been sewn, I'm pinning the other side through the open zipper. That's the only way I'll be able to get in there with my machine, but you can sew by hand if you think it's easier. And then everything has been attached, and all I have to do is attach the straps to the 2 D-rings and do a little bit of decorating. And since you guys know me, you know that my decorating is gonna be a chain and some safety pins. So for the chain, I'm just using this leftover chain that I had from a bag. I'm gonna attach it by using these little clips to the D-rings at the bottom. So opening and closing the chain with some craft pliers. And then I am adding a keychain ring so that I can actually put my keys onto this and put them in the little side pocket and not be worried about them falling out because they are attached through the chain. Or you can just have the chain hang off loosely like a detail. You don't need to use it for keys if you don't want to. And then yeah, some safety pins because why the hell not? That is the final detail, and my bag, which was made completely from scraps and recycled materials, is now done. If you have any questions, please go to the comments and ask, and yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching, bye!